My lady and I spent the past 6 months backpacking across Southeast Asia, making a ton of mistakes so you don't have to. In this video, I'm gonna break down everything that we brought, things we used every day, things we wish we had, and things that just never left our bag. Whether you're planning your first trip, ready to go, doesn't matter. Hostels, hotels, solo, or with a friend, either way, the information in this video will be a great addition to your travels, and most importantly, won't take up any space in your bag. First item, fiance. Overall, first item, fiance. First item, fiance. Overall, I wouldn't recommend. Expenses get high because it's hungry all the time, and mood has more ups and downs than the Haijang loop. Number 2. So keep in mind for the rest of this list, me and Shay are on the minimalist side of traveling. We like to be light. We don't want to carry a bunch of stuff around, and we like to save money. And so if you're not like that, just use this as a baseline. Bring this stuff and then add whatever you want afterwards. Just remember, you got to lug it around. It came to backpacks and bags. We brought a bunch of them. A 40 liter, a 55 liter, a day bag that packs down, and a laptop bag. And I'd say for those sizes, they were just enough for us. From getting from one town to another, we were pushing our zippers to the limit out there. Especially because this laptop bag actually fit inside my bag. If you're not planning on bringing a laptop or doing any of that stuff, then I would say 55 and a 40 liter for you and your partner, absolutely perfect. But if you do have that laptop, I would say 255s. It would make things so much easier. We were constantly playing Tetris out there, but we kind of enjoyed it by the end, if I'm honest. It's a lie, we were sick of it. So the packable bag is just super handy for when you're going from one town to another via sleeper bus. If you have the absolute pleasure of getting on a sleeper bus, they are so much fun. Or if you are getting on planes like domestic flights, or going to town, put your water bottle in it, don't have to carry it the whole time. If you are bringing a laptop, this is nice to have if you don't want to keep it in your backpack, especially on sleeper buses. They're not always the kindest. Sleeper buses are notorious for just having the worst customer service, and they just don't give a shit about their job. Keeping a laptop on you, with you, and not under the bus is definitely the way to go. So me and Shay brought 2 fanny packs. This one is a cheap one from Koh San Road, but my one was from Travelon because I would carry our more important stuff like passports. So my zippers were actually lockable to make it harder to pickpocket, and it was slash proof. But at the end of the day, I'm not slash proof. So I'll be handing that shit over if somebody pulls a knife. So if your plan includes renting bikes and scooters going across Southeast Asia, keep in mind rental companies make money on the scooter itself and not the helmet. So most of their helmets are in terrible condition. They either have no visor or missing the visor, or it's very scratched up, or the helmet is just not up to the North American standards of safety, and it is a thin piece of plastic. So if you're over the age of 25 and you understand that you're not invincible, things can happen to you, then safety is obviously on your mind. We got caught out once at night, which I hate driving at night in those countries. And so once at night with a scratched visor, and I couldn't see a damn thing. There's too much dust to put it up, and it was just a scary situation. And then if you get caught going down the highway with no visor, bugs and dust, hurts like hell. Got caught out a couple times like that. I decided to open the wallet. I know, right? So we went out and bought 2 helmets. It was quite honestly one of the better decisions we made on the trip, and I was quite upset with myself that I put up with this sketchy driving and this dangerous driving for as long as I did. Which brings me to my first tip on buying the helmets. We bought mine from a street vendor and Shay's from an actual storefront. And if I had to tell you to go for one, just go for the storefront. The price difference is negligible, but the quality difference is just way different. The helmets, they looked the same, but mine lasted maybe a month before the visor was starting to come off and break, and Shay's was still good. Not to mention the visor quality is, if you go with the street vendor, I don't know what they use for the plastic, but your vision's all warped and everything. So we would switch helmets because hers was so much better than mine. And also with these helmets, if you're worried about travel, we did manage to make it work. Getting on sleeper buses with our helmets underneath, in our bag. Since I wouldn't want to leave my laptop under there, there's a bit extra space. So just put stuff in the helmet and then in the backpack it goes. It works out very nicely. And then with the smaller backpack, we would just put the helmet inside these straps and cinch down all these straps, and it kept it very secure and it worked out very well. When there's a will, there's a way, and we got it to work. So it isn't impossible to just travel with helmets, and it worked out really well for us. So yeah, buy the helmet. It's way more comfortable. You can see better. It's the way to go. And then at the end, right before you leave for home, you can just give it to some kid riding on a motorcycle that doesn't have one. You know, it's charity work. That's what I'm here for. And when it comes to packing the bags, we had 1 packing cube each. And I'm just gonna read it because I'm not doing that whole thing. In there we had 3 shirts, 1 pants, 5 boxers, 5 socks, 2 plain dark colored swim shorts, just so I could use them as regular shorts as well. 1 pair of regular shorts, 1 sweater. If you're gonna stick to the minimalist approach, I would suggest merino wool or some quick dry stuff. That way you don't smell so bad. Nobody likes that guy in the hostel. You know, you have a hard time making friends. Oh, right. And also don't forget to pack your pure silk pajama set so you can assert your class dominance upon the other hostel dwellers. A puffer jacket that also packs down. Very handy for if you ever, you know, if you're going to do the Haijang Loop, which you should. We wish we had a separate laundry bag. We just made different things work, like we would use helmet bags. Another item we were so glad we had was the cinch straps. Basically just put the strap through there, cinch it down, stays tight. It is so nice to have. If your hotel or hostel doesn't have drying racks, which some don't, you just hang them yourself. And then another thing we'd use this for is, depending on how much you spend on your hostel, you could get a cubby bunk, which is the goated one, or just a regular frame bed. And so the cubby one is built into the wall. Basically you are encapsulated. It is like your own little room in there. Those ones are good. You could put your stuff anywhere. With the frame beds, it is just like the bunk bed you had with your sibling, where you look over the edge on both sides and it is straight down to a tile floor. And they don't often have a shelf, so you can't put your phone anywhere. You got a plug right next to your head. You plug it in, but you got nowhere to put your phone. So under the mattress or next to you, either way, it can fall and hit the floor and smash. So this can save you potentially a lot of money, because what I would do is plug my phone in and wrap it around a bunch of times on the frame and cinch it down. And that would work very well. And I wouldn't wake up to my phone alarm going off like 6 feet below me with a bunch of people still trying to sleep. So, you know, I didn't have that panic ladder sprint in the morning, which was nice. Multi-tool number 2 that we're so glad we had was the dry bag. Used it for every excursion that was over water, going into town while it's raining. And also if me and Shay would do our own little snorkel excursion off the beach, we would use these, 2 of these, strap them together, carabiner it to this, and this would just float behind us with like everything important. So it was so handy to have. Would recommend. This one came from Koh San Road in Thailand. This one in particular is useless. Everything gets wet, but kept it dry enough to not ruin our passports. One more multi-tool for the road. Bum guns are everywhere. Toilet paper is not. And having a antibacterial dry cloth is so nice to have. You know, you wash up with the bum gun, but then just dry up with this. Plus you can save the environment by using this instead of the napkins at a restaurant. Next up is the e-reader, and we are so happy that we had this thing. Honestly, it was a lifesaver. Whenever you go out to like a restaurant and your table is super wobbly, you just tuck this underneath the leg and it evens your table out beautifully. And if you forget it there, you know you can always go back for it. No rush. Nobody's gonna take it because it's a fucking e-reader. Packable towels. They don't dry you very well, but they do pack down really small. They dry really quick. And if you get one of these really big ones, this is half the towel. If you do have one that size, it works really well for those really cheap hostels that don't provide you a curtain. It is so annoying to show up without a curtain, but just get the biggest one and you have your own curtain all the time. It works out really nicely. Speaking of hostels, headphones, earplugs, eye covers, they're a must. Headphones, so you're not that person listening full volume to something in a hostel. It's very irritating. Earplugs to combat that person that listens to stuff full volume. And eye covers, because your drunk neighbor that's out till 2 a.m. probably left his reading light on before he left. Neck pillow. One that actually mounts to the seat is always good. We went with that brand. And so it actually clips to the seat behind you, and it is a lifesaver. Don't expect to be able to use it on like a domestic short flight because they don't actually have anything to mount it to. But we are so happy we had this. Recommended to my parents. They loved it. Wish I was sponsored, but I'm not. Charging block. We started our trip with a cheap one from Amazon for like 20 bucks. It didn't last, obviously, but we used every single one of these types of plugs. But yeah, you'll run into a whole bunch of different plugs, and one thing you'll have to look out for, especially at hostels, is the hostels put the plug right next to your pillow so it gets knocked a lot. So basically if that's in the wall, it gets knocked out a lot. So basically all the plugs, unless it's a brand new hostel, are in terrible condition. so these won't actually stay. As soon as you plug something in or something's hanging off, they want to come out of the wall anyway. So what I would do is either use my selfie stick and prop it up underneath from the bed frame, or use one of the straps. That's the best I got for you. You're staying in a place for $8 a night. What more do you want? With the bags, I would suggest buying a rain cover for rain. Some of the higher quality bags like Osprey, they will come with a actual dedicated travel bag for it. It looks like a rain cover, but it's thicker, has handles on the outside. If you don't have one of those, it's not the end of the day. All airports have plastic wrap, so Shay's bag was always wrapped up. That's what we did. If you're going to the tourist spots, medication is around and cheap. But I will say for anything basic to maybe get you to your location, I would bring just headache tablets, stuff for your stomach, you know, I don't want that on a plane. But anything more major, the pharmacies are just everywhere and they're hella cheap as well. It's easy to get anything. Me and Shay walked into a Vietnamese pharmacy and we just said, hey, we need antibiotics. And no question, just turned around, grabbed it, put them down on the counter. And we were just like, thanks. Like it's so easy to get medication there. Item number 1 in the luxury category is the Shewee. Some countries take pride in their washrooms, others do not. Whether you're a hiker on the trails or you just don't want to squat over a nasty ass toilet, the Shewee has your back. One thing I will say about this item is it does take confidence to use. I asked Shay before I bought it, I said, will you use this thing? It'll really help you out. She said, yes, I will. But then when it came to actually using it, she would come up with silly excuses like, that's disgusting. I'm not going to use that thing. You weren't supposed to use it to take a shit standing up. It's an ongoing argument, but at the end of the day, it doesn't say anything about that in the instructions. Next item is the rain gear. I'm not a rain gear guy. I'd rather just grab an umbrella. It's less sweaty and gross. So not something I would personally bring. I guess depending what you're doing, if you're hiking and you need like poles, yeah, it's good to have at least the upper half. But if you're not really a strenuous hiker, I personally go umbrella. You're probably the social type. 2 decks of cards. Most places have decks of cards you can use. You will end your trip with a absolute arsenal of games that you can play. I would suggest writing them down in your phone or in a notepad, all the rules and stuff, because you will. Like it is so much fun to just learn different games. If you end up sitting down with some Germans, they'll probably be playing Shithead. It's a great game, you'll love it. This one kind of goes along with rain gear. If you're a strenuous hiker, gaiters. We did mount a gung in Bali. We used these for those and they were great. Our legs were filthy. Our shoes were still nice and clean inside. If you're gonna be doing like those kind of hikes, try this. If you're interested in seeing how our Mount Agung in Bali went, link to below. Bringing us down to the last thing, things we wouldn't bring again. The majority of stuff in a toiletry bag. Don't bother. We were in a kind of unique situation where we didn't know where we were going to be when we got back, so we got rid of everything. It didn't matter what we brought, like we were just getting rid of everything. But if you're going back home and all your items are still going to be there, I would suggest just leave everything there, minus what you're going to need for travel, like toothbrush, toothpaste. Just buy it while you're there. It is honestly very cheap. Razors are cheap, Q-tips, everything that you will need, just buy it there. Leave all your expensive stuff at home. You don't need it. And one thing that is not cheaper there is sunscreen. It is actually disgustingly expensive. At least the one that we got was. If you can, pack as much sunscreen as you can. Sunscreen and after sun if you get burnt. pack like 2 bottles of that shit, because when we went to go buy it in Indonesia, I think it was 496,000 rupiah. That's $40 Canadian for 1 bottle. And oh, those wounds are still healing. Yeah, it was the first time I've brought it up since it happened. If you do go and you buy sunscreen there, you gotta watch out ones that are branded to be whitening, because out here in North America, we try and get our skin darker. Out there, they get their skin lighter. So watch out for that, or else you will be an albino. That is my list of everything that we brought to Southeast Asia with us. As you can see, my list of stuff that I wouldn't have brought is very small, because the list of stuff we brought is very small. So there it is. Everything in our bags that we brought to Southeast Asia for 6 months. You'll probably pick some stuff up, so if you can, leave some space in your bag. We had enough space. Once we gave our helmets away, we had enough space to bring home a mortar, a pestle and mortar. It was massive. I was happy with it. But if you enjoyed, please hit that subscribe button and like, comment. Let me know if you would bring anything else. And please don't be shy. Please tell me if you think I left anything out, if I was wrong on anything. If you're heading out that way, enjoy. Wish I could be back out there. It's so nice.